everybody, this is our little get together and talk about what we just went over. What do you guys think? I mean, somebody want to start? Anybody got any comments or things they want to say here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah. I can.
Okay. Well, I think that, and I know that that was an extremely loving teaching with so much information given in such a godly fashion. And Don, that was just really awesome. Even learned a little bit. When you think you know that subject, you always have something more to learn. And you made the hope really big. And I hope that people do read those books and read their Bible. Anyway, I just want to say thank you. That was terrific.
You're welcome.
Well, you know, it's really something. You kind of touched on this a little bit. The first and biggest lie that the devil ever told us is you shall not surely die. And this just goes into it in great detail, this teaching. Thank you for it, Don. It went into it in great detail. It showed it to you from the Word. This isn't, you know, just what you think or I think or John Lynn or Henry Boloco or Maggie Muggins or any of them think. This is what the Word says. So it's so appropriate to understand all this stuff about death and life, and they are not the same. Is there death after life? You know, that is a good question. I really enjoyed that little part about the book. Anyone else?
I'd like to say I thought the opening was just completely awesome. All the different examples you used of how words have different meanings and uses, like you can't push and pull at the same time, or you know, go left and right. I thought that was just awesome. It just fit so well.
Well, Sandra, you must have something to say.
Well, you know, I love Don's. Everybody else commented on everything. I agree with all of you. So I'll just add to it that I must comment on Don's lovely facial expressions and cute, fun little sound effects as he does his little infomercials on on the end times and how we have to get it. I love how you are very animated in those like, gotta get it, you gotta get it, and it's very that brought out an entertaining feature. So I had to mention that. Well done on that, by the way. Yes, you guys, you gotta get it.
Well, it's so important. You know, there's so many scriptures that if the dead are alive now, the whole Bible just falls apart. It just does. I mean, the one that really comes to mind for me always is Acts 10:34, I believe it is. For God is no respecter of persons. For I truly perceive God is no respecter of persons. Well, if I die tonight, and the rest of you live, and next week Jesus Christ comes back, that means I had a week more with Jesus Christ than you did. You'll never get that made up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got to, you know, God is no respecter of person. That applies in everything. If he's not a respecter of persons, he's not a respecter of persons. Paul would have an advantage over us that, you know, he's been there 2,000 years. You know, how can, isn't that respecting Paul a little bit more than it's respecting us? I mean, it's not my fault I got born in 1953 and not in 20 AD.
I am.
So
Oh, sorry. You're ringing a bell for me. You're just now reminding me too. I don't know if Lewis touched on it, because maybe I'm being absent-minded here, but I do remember Don talking about also how a child can, grasp the concept of somebody being asleep versus they're up there playing on a harp. They're up there. I mean, I've had personal situations where it's kind of hurt my heart when because a dear friend of mine, when her father died, she had she had a child that was close to him, and it's hard. It kind of makes me cringe, because she wants to cushion the blow. This is how a lot of people think it cushions the blow. But, to cheer her child up, she's telling her child, oh, he's just, God didn't have good enough company up there. And so, because we all know how awesome Grandpa is, so he needed Grandpa to keep him company. And, now he's just eating all the candy and drinking all the beer he wants. Okay. It's okay. It's like, it's funny, but it's sad, and who am I, right? I can't just jump in there and be like, no, I don't know what to do in that kind of a situation, besides cringe, because the kid doesn't like that answer either.
Yeah.
No matter how much you think it's cushioning the blow, the kid doesn't like it. The kid's just going to be like, well, that's selfish. You know what I mean? He took my grandpa away.
Yeah.
Like, I think I need my grandpa more than God needs his company. That's what was going through my mind. And whereas, I think it would be easier just to know he's sleeping right now, and he'll wake up again.
The whole concept of God needs somebody in heaven, is totally bogus, because he says he'll never leave us or forsake us. Well, that's while we're here, so why go somewhere where we can't fellowship with the living? I mean, after all, it does say we are to present ourselves as living sacrifices. So it just contradicts the scriptures.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys been in that situation? Like, how would you have handled the situation, like, to give them the truth?
sometimes just keep your mouth shut. And God bless you. And
It's such a raw time, and somebody once told me, when you're at a funeral, all you want to talk about is the love of God.
right,
Talk
the love
about-
of God in
talk
life.
about the love of God. And if you're someplace else, then maybe it's a good time to talk about death. But
Yeah.
If everybody's alive, that's the time to teach about death.
yeah,
It's when people are, just died. You don't want to try and, get into the subject. I mean, you could talk to John Lynn about this, and he would probably tell you horror stories that would curl your hair about people saying these silly things that don't have any biblical application, and you just have to keep quiet because it's just not the time
Yeah.
at that time.
I think that lesson goes even beyond the the mortuary, because a lot of times we're so anxious and we want to tell people the truth that we know, instead of being tender-hearted enough to find out where they are, so that we know what truth we have that will comfort them and bring them closer with God, instead of driving more of a wedge. I mean, one of the funerals that Dan and I went together a couple years ago, where a dear friend had died that I worked with, and the minister actually did a good job on presenting the word with Thessalonians and stuff, but the daughter of the gentleman that died, she was so wonderful because she gets up in front of everybody. Everybody was giving their spiel about what they knew about the gentleman that died and stuff, and she gets up there and she says, "My dad has been taken away from me in the prime of his life, and that sucks." And her heart was so much more godly than anybody's there because she was laying her heart out. So when we start looking at what that person needs in comfort, then we start ministering to people, not what we have to give them, and that's just arrogance. That's not. You got to find out where are they at. Jesus Christ came to people where they were and ministered what God showed him to minister, and we should do the same thing. That's walking by the Spirit.
It's kind of like another example is like Columbus Day. We used to have a lot of Columbus Day celebrations and stuff and parades and whatnot, and there would always be the anti-Columbus Day people. And whether they're right or wrong, you are there because you want to be there and celebrate Columbus Day, and it's ruined because of all these crackpots who want to push their beliefs on you. It's just the wrong time. The timing is way off.
And unfortunately, sometimes Christians are the biggest crackpots when it comes to that crap. And
And I'm a
Amen.
crackpot. I was at a funeral once, and I'd heard about the rose petals in heaven and all this crap for 15 minutes or so. So when they said, "Would anybody like to speak?" I walked up front with my Bible, and I read them. I wish that you be not ignorant. Because when I first read that, it was such a huge impact because God knew that I was stupid. And it was like he was talking just to me. "Deanna, don't be ignorant. This is what happened." And anyway, the word is just so healing and so comfort. And Dawn, I just love, you laid it out really so beautiful. You made the hope big, the living so important and so precious of what we need to do now and how we need to love and to give life to as many as we can through this precious word God's given us.
yeah, but you kind of also messed up Halloween for a lot of people out there, Dawn. I want you to know that. Man,
We're all going to be
I love candy corn,
every day.
candy corn and peanuts. Mix them together, you'll get sick in an hour. It's awesome. See? So there you go.
So is
Hey,
Dan?
Don, I'd also like to say, Don, that or Donald, your the way you handled this hope and to go into sleep, that was so wonderful. Just the tone of your voice and the love that you had in your voice there. 'Cause I recently had to bury a couple people, and I was sharing those verses. But boy, I wish I could have just had what you just said there. But I'll have it next time about just taking a good long nap and sleep. And I had mental pictures coming through my mind of somebody laying down with a pillow and being so comfortable and restful, and it was just really healing to my heart.
oh, crap.
So I'm going to pass that on.
For the next funeral already.
Yeah. The next sleeping nap.
Like the next nap.
People are so
Yeah,
sensitive
nap
to this
time.
stuff.
People are taking naps every day, I'll tell you. What's going on?
Yeah.
And
That's-
people are so sensitive to this stuff that if you were to sit with them and talk to them about how this is crap,
Yeah.
they would just automatically turn you off. So you have to take your moments.
I might ask him next time, well, you're talking about rose petals. Well, doesn't God like dandelions and other types of flowers too? So you just only want rose petals?
Oh, that's
Yeah, they're thorns in your side until they die. Now they're yeah.
I wanted to also say that if you're so fortunate to be able to have closure with someone who you know is going to be taking a nap soon, not all of us, are blessed with at least the ability to have closure, but I was able to have closure with my mom, and me and my mom both knew the truth that she was going to be taking a nap. Okay, and it made, I mean, of course death sucks, so it's not like it's gonna hurt any less as far as not gonna be, I'm not gonna get to see her for such a long time, but it was much nicer to be able to say, I'll see you when you wake up, and like, we're gonna have a blast when you wake up, and it's, it was like a nice, like, I'll just see you later kind of thing, instead of, I hate you, God, why are you taking my mom away? It's more like, I'll see you later, Mom. Like, I kind of made a joke of it, and I said, you know what, Mom, I'm kind of jealous. You're going to get to take a nap through all this crap that's going to be happening in this world. And, you just get to rest while
I love it.
I have to deal with it. But I also told her that we're going to be fine. Don't worry about us. So if you're hanging on for us, don't worry about it. Just take your nap. We'll be cool. And I'll see you later. So it was just it was a more beautiful moment to say goodbye rather than I'm never going to see you again. I guess some people say I'll see you later in heaven. I guess, some people do have that mentality. But even with that, they still have that, even if they don't admit it, they still have a little bitterness that, like, oh, God's taking you, like, God, why do you have to take him right now, type of thing. And
Yeah.
it kind of taints it. Like, even if you're saying see you later in heaven, it's still tainted because you're thinking God's taking them.
Yeah, some people don't have that opportunity. They just they leave in the morning and never come home, and then then it gets nasty because people have been taught that God is the one who takes them, and that is just so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something, I've made it a rule since about the mid-'70s. I never say goodbye. It's always see you later.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people I know, I will see them later. Sooner or later, at some point in time, we will cross again. As again. And, this whole lie is set up for one purpose only, and that's to get people to hate God.
Yep.
Or not to hate him, at least not to want him in their lives. But generally, it is to get people to hate God. And I mean, I remember after my mom died, it just tore our family apart, and I just told God, look, you got to tell me why this happened. I need to understand it. And a very short time later, I took a class called Power for Abundant Living, which is no longer available. And I learned about this stuff. And, believe me, the whole thing is set up so people will hate God. That's exactly why the lie is perpetrated, because the adversary, the devil, whatever you want to call him, he wants people hating God, or if not hating him, at least wanting nothing to do with him.
And if he can't do that, then he'll promote his lie that you're not really dead, and he'll try to steal the relationships that people have built up between themselves and God, and try to divert it to him. He wants that adoration and worship. He'll get it any way he can. It's kind of like
or try to promote that deal about you come back as somebody else.
Oh yeah,
a cricket or a bullfrog or a zebra or something,
Yeah.
I'll just get
That's
a
why I
meeting
like
and
this class right here, One Day with the Creator. It really helps explain all these things in a nutshell in 24 hours.
There you go.
In the segment that talks about death and life is and the differences is segment 25. In case anybody wants to just buy or rent that segment, which you can do at Amazon.com.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I think it's $2 or something like that to rent it, and maybe $2.95 or $2.50 or $3 if you want to buy that segment. You can do that. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. You know, I got something cool here too. You know, it's just every time I look at my wrist now, I'm reminded about something called One Day with the Creator, because I found a wristwatch that's got the same color combination.
Oh, you got that too?
Yeah, I got the color on the watch. And
Wow.
I found some sunglasses.
Where do you find these things? Is there a store that only sells?
I just find deals. I don't know. I get stuff.
That is so funny. Only you.
Yeah.
You were coming into contact with these neon blues and
So I'll
greens.
have a brochure in my back pocket, and I'll have a T-shirt on with a watch and sunglasses. I'm looking the part. I'm finally color coordinated and styling.
Seriously.
You know what T-shirt you'll have on, right?
Yeah, right.
You gotta talk to Leah about those matching accessories. You know, you gotta get those into the store so other people can get matching accessories.
That's right. Well, Timex has the watch at Kohl's.
Cha-ching.
All right. Well, anybody got anything else anything else major to bring up?
These there are sections in the Bible that do make it sound like people are still alive, or things of that nature, and they are explained in the book called "Is There Death After Life?" There are also YouTube videos and teachings on our website, tltf.org, that are free, and you can watch them until you run out of popcorn.
You are getting so good at the call to actions, Don.
You inspire me.
Oh, like a pro now.
All right.
That's great.
Well, unless somebody objects, I'm going to call an end here. I've been going for almost an hour and a half now, so.
Oh, yeah. Good luck downloading.
Yeah. Well, I'll be on that shortly.
I'm objecting. Just a joke.
Oh.
Well,
Oh wait. See you later.
see you later.
Till we meet again.
There.
Yeah, we have to change all of our Friday morning weekly. See you later.
Au revoir.
See you later.
See you at the
All
Bema.
right, see you later.
See you at Bema. See you in the air.
Okay, so y'all have a great